Alright, get ready because this isn't just another goalkeeper story. This is about a keeper the Premier League thought they could test and break. Senne Lammens is exactly what the Premier League feared. You don't believe it? Take a look at this. Those reflexes, absolutely outrageous. Point blank, no time to think, just instinct, pure reaction.
Looks to thread a pass through. What a brilliant ball that is to Isak.
One-on-one, there isn't a better keeper in the league right now in that situation. He stays big, he waits, he doesn't blink. Forwards panic, he doesn't. Shot-stopping machine, proper old-school presence. You're not scoring past me energy. And here's the crazy part. The 6 feet 4 inches Belgian arrived quietly, deadline day, 21 million euros from Royal Antwerp. No fireworks, no hype. Just a calm, composed presence walking into Old Trafford after years of instability in that position. From the moment he made his debut against Sunderland on October 4th, he looked different, not louder, not dramatic, just steady. And that matters because before him, Andre Onana, Altay Bayındır. Talent, yes. Stability, not quite.
This season because of injury, this is his 3rd match in a row on the bench. Oh, give it away! Bruno's in! Bruno scores!
Here I come. Oh, here I come.
In the way that he wants his football to be played, not like that. Onana's given it away. Big chance here. Mid-trend in the middle. 1-0.
Now here's where it gets interesting. If you only look at the raw numbers, you'd say, wait, what's the big deal? United have conceded 26 league goals in his 20 appearances and kept just 4 clean sheets. That doesn't scream revolution, but football isn't played on spreadsheets. Because despite those numbers, Lammens is currently ranked as the 2nd best goalkeeper in the Premier League this season. And it gets even bigger. Sports Illustrated updated their global goalkeeper rankings, and Lammens is now listed as the 8th best goalkeeper in world football, ahead of Emiliano Martinez, the Man United almost signed instead. Let that sink in. So the real question isn't whether he's good. The real question is, how good has he actually been? And more importantly, is he the reason Manchester United are finally starting to look like Manchester United again? First, let's talk about his shot stopping, because at the end of the day, that's the bread and butter of any top keeper. And this is where Senne Lammens has built his reputation since day one. This is the trait that defines him. This is why strikers are starting to hesitate. Now, the numbers, they tell a slightly complicated story. He's not hitting the same crazy statistical levels he reached in Belgium. In the Premier League, he's ranked 18th for save percentage at 61.7%. Last season with Antwerp, he was sitting at 77%. That's a big drop on paper. But context matters. Lammens has conceded 26 league goals from shots worth 28.9 expected goals on target. That means he has actually prevented around 3 goals more than expected. He's faced 58 shots, conceded 1 penalty, and had 2 own goals on top of that. So if you're looking for blame, maybe look at the defensive chaos in front of him, rather than the man between the posts. That says more about United's inconsistent backline and the quality of chances they're giving away than it does about Lammens' ability. Because when you isolate the moments that matter, he delivers. Take the 3-2 win away at Arsenal. Minute 18. Martin Zubimendi rises for a header. It takes a deflection off Casemiro. Wrong foots everyone, except Lammens. His reaction speed, balance and body control were outrageous. That wasn't luck. That was elite reflex training meeting composure under pressure. And then there's the double save against Wolves in December from Ladislav Krejci. The first stop? Explosive, sharp, top level. But what happened next was even better. The ball rebounds into chaos. Most keepers switch off for half a second. That's all it takes. Lammens didn't. He manipulated the ball midair, not once but twice, nudging it away from Yerson Mosquera charging in. That level of mental engagement after the initial save, that's what separates good keepers from elite ones. And this hasn't been a one-off season of highlight clips. We've seen it again and again. Against Bournemouth, pulling off multiple reflex saves. Against Tottenham, that feline reaction to Christian Romero's back heel inside the box. Then the lightning stop from João Palhinha. The outrageous save low to his post against Raul Jimenez.
Lovely ball in behind for Raul Jimenez. Harry Maguire getting back. Brilliant.
The bicycle kick denial against Leeds where he flew like Superman. Long-range rockets against Brighton and Nottingham Forest. That Brighton cross shot that nearly sneaked in. Not on his watch. He's got reflexes for the entire Premier League. Proper cat-like reactions. At 193 centimetres, his size gives him reach and coverage. His wingspan helps. His diving frame helps. But the real standout? Those lightning-fast reflexes. That split-second reaction time that allows him to pull off double and even triple saves. That's what drove his huge save rate in Belgium. Another massive strength in Senne Lammens' game is his positioning. And this is where you start to see real goalkeeper intelligence. He doesn't always stay glued to his line. On many occasions, he takes up a slightly advanced position, a few yards off it. That small adjustment changes everything. By stepping forward, he reduces the shooting angle for the attacker and places himself closer to the centre of the goal, which massively increases his chances of making the save. If he was standing right on his line, a shot heading for the top corner could be practically unstoppable. But by stepping forward, he cuts down the space the striker can see and attack. In theory, that shot that looked unsavable from a distance suddenly becomes reachable. It's subtle, but it's clever. This positioning also explains why he often gets his body behind long-range efforts. Because he's slightly advanced, he meets the ball earlier in its trajectory. That allows him to catch or parry shots that would otherwise drift just out of reach. And sometimes for that reason, he makes very difficult saves look routine, calm, simple, almost boring. But they're not. Of course, there is a trade-off. If he's positioned slightly ahead of his line and the shot comes early or through a crowd of bodies, he gives himself less reaction time. And in those moments, every millisecond matters. When visibility is blocked or the strike is unexpected, being closer to the line gives a keeper more time to react. In 1-versus-1 situations especially, he shows shades of Thibaut Courtois and prime David De Gea. He uses his legs brilliantly to block low shots. Instead of diving unnecessarily, he spreads himself, stays tall, and makes himself huge. It's also important to separate short 1-versus-1s from long 1-versus-1s when analysing a goalkeeper. In long 1-versus-1s, when an attacker is running clear from a distance, both the striker and the keeper have more time to think. That creates a psychological duel. In short 1-versus-1s, inside the box, everything happens instantly. Lammens' approach to 1-versus-1s is smart, even if it's not flawless. He has the pace to rush off his line quickly and usually comes out partially to narrow the angle as soon as the attacker enters the box. Then, crucially, he stops. He holds his ground. He makes himself big. Likewise, he forces the striker to decide. Furthermore, he doesn't dive in recklessly. He doesn't commit too early. That reduces the risk of giving away penalties or being rounded for an easy tap-in. By staying balanced and upright, he makes it extremely difficult for attackers to pick their spot. Another area where Lammens really stands out, at least statistically, is his ability to deal with crosses. Last season, he ranked first among goalkeepers in Europe's top 10 leagues for crosses stopped, with an impressive 13.2%. That is not a random number. That is elite territory. And for a Manchester United side that has been heavily criticised for looking shaky on corners earlier at the start of the season, that stat sounds like music to the fans' ears. The hope is obvious. If he dominates the air, the set-piece weakness disappears. Simple, right? Not quite. When you actually watch him, you start to understand why those numbers are both impressive and slightly misleading at the same time. Lammens is extremely proactive when attacking crosses. If the ball's hanging in that 50-50 zone between the defence and the 6-yard box, he's coming. In Belgium, especially with Royal Antwerp, he often dealt with crosses that dropped into that corridor with very little physical opposition. That allowed him to step off his line confidently and claim them cleanly. In that environment, his aggression was a weapon. The Premier League is a different beast. The traffic is heavier, the bodies are stronger, the chaos is louder, and that's where the adaptation comes in. At the weekend against Arsenal opponents, who offer the sternest test of a goalkeeper's ability to deal with crosses, he fought through traffic, timed his jumps, punched decisively, and imposed himself on the game. He took ownership of his penalty area when United needed it most. To be fair, he has already looked more commanding than both Altay Bayindir and Andre Onana in similar situations since that debut against Sunderland. We've seen flashes of it against Newcastle, Wolves, and Brighton, where he attacked crosses decisively and relieved pressure. But on set pieces, especially corners, things get more complicated. Lammens keeps that same enthusiastic mindset. His instinct is to come out and claim. The problem is that sometimes he misreads the flight or the traffic. There are moments where he tries to punch or catch, when the smarter decision would be to stay on his line and react. That's why there's a gap between the raw crossing numbers and the eye test on corners. According to Opta, he conceded 8 goals from 85 corners faced last season. That's roughly 9%. When you compare that to Premier League goalkeepers who face more than 20 corners, 15 had a better percentage and 12 had worse. So he's not disastrous, but he's not dominant either. Interestingly, Emiliano Martinez, the keeper United almost signed, conceded just 2 goals from 60 corners, one of the best records around. That comparison is fair. However, here's the key context. Lammens' 9% is still a massive improvement compared to Andre Onana last season, who conceded a staggering 17.2% from corners, nearly double. So is Lammens the finished product in the the air? Not yet. Does he need to refine his reading of set-piece trajectories in the Premier League? Absolutely. Another thing that makes Lammens different, and this is massive in modern football, is how good he is with the ball at his feet. He's naturally right-footed, yes, but he's comfortable with both. He doesn't panic, he doesn't rush. Not only that, but he doesn't look like a keeper who's praying the press doesn't reach him. He'll take a touch, he'll shift it. Furthermore, he'll pick a pass, and that changes everything. Under Amorim, one of the few things that actually worked at times was using Lammens' distribution to bypass pressure. Instead of playing safe and slow, United would invite the press and then explode through his long, accurate clearances. Remember the first goal Mbeumo scored against Liverpool? That doesn't happen without Lammens' clean contact and vision. One precise launch into space, the press broken in 1 second, and suddenly United are attacking in the opposition half. His ability to strike through the ball properly, not just hoof it, allows United to turn defensive situations into attacking transitions instantly. And when you've got runners like Mbeumo, Cunha, or even Sesko stretching the pitch, that distribution becomes a weapon. But it's not just about long balls. When United wants to build from midfield, Lammens gives them composure. He'll split the centre-backs. He'll receive under pressure. He'll switch play. He keeps the tempo clean. That confidence spreads into the back line. The difference between a keeper who just clears danger and one who starts attacks is huge. Maybe the most immediate and powerful impact Senne Lammens has had at Manchester United isn't even about saves. It's about presence. After 2 chaotic seasons between Andre Onana and Altay Bayindir, the club desperately needed stability in goal. What they found in Lammens is not just a shot stopper, but a commanding figure. His mentality, his communication, and his willingness to dominate the surrounding space have transformed the backline almost overnight. Let's be honest, Lammens has become exactly what Onana was supposed to be. The numbers don't lie. Andre Onana had a winning debut against Wolves, and yes, he escaped a late penalty shout. But from there, things spiralled quickly. He lost 9 of his first 21 games in all competitions. Several of those defeats came in the Champions League, where his mistakes played a major role in United's group stage elimination. Now compare that to Lammens. In his first 21 games, United have lost only 3 times, against Everton, Aston Villa, and Brighton in the FA Cup. That's it. The contrast is brutal. While Onana suffered 5 Premier League defeats and 4 in Europe early on, Lammens' arrival has coincided with a 66% reduction in losses compared to Onana's initial spell. Some might argue the comparison isn't entirely fair because Onana's early run included Champions League fixtures. Fine, so let's narrow it down to the Premier League. Lammens has lost just 2 of his first 20 league matches. Onana lost 8 in his first 20. That's not a small difference. That's a shift in trajectory. And here's the kicker. Lammens has achieved this while playing under 3 different head coaches: Ruben Amorim, Darren Fletcher, and Michael Carrick. Onana had the relative stability of working only under Erik ten Hag, a manager he already knew from Ajax. Despite tactical changes, formation tweaks, and pressure from all sides, Lammens has been a beacon of reliability. He makes fewer mistakes, he looks composed, he inspires trust. The defence plays with more confidence because they know what's behind them.
You've been the biggest hammer of the goalkeepers that I've seen, right?
So what you're saying is I was absolutely 100% spot on. Is that what you're saying? Just out loud for me, please.
His good vibrations reverberate through the team. It literally leads to confidence, security, assuredness.
This is precisely what United thought they were getting when they moved on from David De Gea in 2023, a modern keeper who combines presence, personality, and performance. Lammens makes fewer errors, he is far more secure, and he has undeniably changed Manchester United's present. And if this trajectory continues, the future under the Belgian Guardian looks very, very bright.